When word got out that I planned to have a child through sperm donation, my archenemy showed up in the middle of the night, his eyes red. He said a fortune teller told him he wouldn't live past 27. I asked flatly, so? He shifted awkwardly. Don't you want a child? I won't live long, so I won't fight you for custody. I have a lot of money. When I die, it'll all be yours. My genes are excellent, just one try and you'll be pregnant. And I have great service awareness. It won't be uncomfortable for you. Honestly, it sounded like a pretty good deal. So I teased him, but I don't like you. He froze. Then broke down in a small sob. Then turn off the lights. With the lights off, it's all the same. Jenna. I needed money. The good news, my mother left me a vast inheritance. The bad news, I could only inherit it if I had a child. So I decided to go the legal route, get pregnant via sperm donation. It was the fastest legal method. I flipped through the candidate profiles that had been sent to me, still undecided about which to pick, when my assistant called to say Charlie wanted to see me. Charlie Ford. My mortal enemy. We've been at odds since we were kids. He liked to compete with me in everything. Back in school, he always fought to be number one. But he couldn't beat me, except for that one time I missed an exam. He even fought me at auctions, bidding on rare collectibles. Completely ridiculous. The guy had too much money and nowhere to spend it. At work, we competed for projects. I slipped up twice and let him win. He also loved tattling. Back then, he'd complained to my mom that I bullied him. After she passed away, he started reporting me to his overprotective brother instead. Of course he tattled. How else would Henry Ford look at me like I murdered his dog every time we met? The only reason I hadn't slapped Charlie silly by now was because he had a really, really pretty face. And I have a soft spot for pretty people. Let him in, I said. A few seconds later, the office door slammed open. I frowned. That annoyingly beautiful face appeared. I stared at his reddened eyes, slightly surprised. Charlie's personality had always been unpredictable, sometimes a refined scoundrel, sometimes upright and righteous, and other times, as dumb as a pig. But this kind of vulnerable side? Rare. What's the matter? I asked. He stormed over to my desk, didn't even sit down. Hands pressed to the surface, he leaned toward me. You're planning to get pregnant through sperm donation? I didn't know how he found out, but... Close the door, I said calmly. He lost all composure. You still care about the door at a time like this? I shot him a warning look. He pursed his lips, then turned and closed the door. You really want to? Who told you? I interrupted. Was it your brother? Or did you send someone to investigate me? He answered slowly, almost like he felt wronged. I didn't. Oh. So it was his brother. How boring. You came all the way here in the middle of the night just for this? What do you mean, just for this? Isn't this important? How could you? He fell silent. His gaze fixed on my desk. The next second, he snatched up the files with the donor profiles. Put them down, I said. He ignored me, flipping through them one page at a time. His eyes looked even redder. Charlie, I called his name. Put them down. He didn't. Instead, he looked even more aggrieved. You're scolding me over a few stupid sheets of paper. Scolding? That was just my normal tone. President Ford Jr., would you please put them down? How's that tone for you? He reluctantly did so. I was speechless. If there's nothing else, go home and take a shower. Get some sleep. I reached out to retrieve the papers, but he pinned them down with his hand. There is something. I looked up. And heard him start rambling. The fortune teller said I won't live past 27. Who the hell told him that? Isn't he afraid Henry will kill him? I raised an eyebrow slightly. So? He shuffled again, blushing. Don't you want a child? I won't live long, so I won't fight you for the baby. I have a lot of money. When I die, it's all yours. My genes are great, one shot and it'll work. And I'm really considerate in bed. It won't be uncomfortable for you. It did sound like a bargain. But, I said, you might not fight me for the baby, but the Ford family will. They won't. I'll do it secretly. They won't know. So naive. He probably had no idea how many of his brother's people were planted around him. By the time he stepped through my door, they probably already knew. He was so naive, it made me want to mess with him. I beckoned him over. His eyes lit up, and he strode toward me. You said you're good at service? I hooked a finger into his tie and gave it a gentle tug. Locked my gaze with his. Then I'd like to inspect the goods. His face turned beet red. Those gorgeous eyes were wide with panic. Here? You want to do it here? Oh, he nearly dropped to his knees. Amusing. I'd never seen him like this before. I raised my foot and let the toe of my shoe brush against his leg. Smiling, I asked, then where would you rather do it? His breathing quickened. He avoided my eyes, not daring to look at me. I suppressed a smile. Forget it. I sighed and pulled my hand back. Go home. But he suddenly grabbed my hand. I can do it. Don't send me away. And before I could say anything, something warm landed on my lips. I froze. He was kissing me. His eyes were tightly shut, long lashes trembling. So careful, like he was touching something fragile. When really, he was the fragile one. I bit his lip without mercy, then pushed him away. Those pretty eyes shimmered with tears as he looked at me. God, he looked like he was just waiting to be made to cry. Your offer is tempting, I said. But Charlie, I don't like you. He went rigid. I stood up to leave, didn't make it 2 steps before he hugged me from behind. His voice cracked with unmistakable sobs. Just turn off the lights. With the lights off, it's the same. Was he seriously crying? I turned around, but he was holding me too tightly. All I could see was the top of his head buried in the crook of my neck. Charlie, let go. You're only making me hate you. His hands jerked back like they were electrocuted. Jenna Brown, please don't hate me. He hung his head, hands curling in on themselves anxiously by his sides. Irritating. I shoved his chest, not gently. He stumbled back, lost balance, and landed heavily in the wide leather chair. A little disheveled. But for the first time in a long time, utterly stunned. But the next second, his eyes filled with shock. Because I kissed him. The once quiet office was suddenly filled with the sounds of movement. After a long while, I pushed away the now responsive Charlie, gently brushing my fingers along his jaw. That's what a kiss should feel like, I said. Did you learn it, Charlie? He nodded dazedly. I chuckled, stood up, and headed toward the break room. As soon as I stepped inside, he pushed me against the door and kissed me again, eager to prove he'd learned well. After that, things got messy. Then even messier, when I watched him struggle like a fool, fumbling for ages without even managing to get inside. I laughed in exasperation and flipped him over. Charlie, how can you not even know how to do this? And finally, I got what I wanted. Tears welled up in those pretty, shimmering eyes. I laughed like a psycho. But it didn't take long before I wasn't laughing anymore. I'd never realized just how fast Charlie could learn. I was exhausted. The next thing I remembered, I was curled up as usual, hugging my plush toy in my sleep. Except the toy wouldn't stop kissing me. Annoyed, I slapped it. But a second later, something warm and damp spread across my palm. I shot awake. And there was Charlie Ford, his skin fair and soft, a red handprint clearly blooming on his face. Yet he didn't seem to care. He was smiling like a sunflower. Baby. I rolled over. Don't call me that. Okay, then what should I call you? Wifey? Shut up. I inhaled deeply. Use my name. He leaned over again. Come on, after what we did, isn't using names a little too distant? I pushed him away. You're overthinking this. It was just sperm borrowing. When I came out of the bathroom, he was sitting on the bed, eyes red, staring at me in silence. I need to change. Turn around and go to the bathroom. He gave a little snort but didn't leave. He just averted his eyes. Forget it. I quickly got dressed and turned around, only to meet his gaze again. He looked like he was about to cry. I walked over and softened my voice. I have a meeting at 9. Get yourself together and leave before then. TCH. I really did sound like a scumbag. He didn't respond. His lips turned downward as he stared at me. I turned to go. But the next second, he grabbed the hem of my shirt. I don't have clothes. I can't leave. Do you want your employees to find out you're hiding a man in the break room? Immature. I wanted to say it, but when I saw his eyes shimmering with tears, the words stuck in my throat. Does it hurt? I asked, touching his flushed cheek. The handprint had faded a little, but it was still vividly red. It hurts, he said, starting to cry. So different from the night before. This time, it was just grievance. I didn't like it. I rubbed his cheek roughly. I'll have someone bring ointment. No, he shook his head. I still have my pride. Then what do you want me to do? I asked. He stopped crying. His watery eyes looked up at me, pitifully. A kiss. If you kiss it, it won't hurt anymore. Seriously? He nodded vigorously. I leaned down and kissed his cheek. Better? Nope. I bent down again for another kiss. But this time, he grabbed my wrist and pulled me closer. The kiss landed on his lips. He chased after me to deepen it. It took a while for my rationality to return. I pushed him away. I've already had your clothes sent over. I'll go get them. Don't come out. His eyes crinkled with a smile. Okay. After that, he obediently got dressed and left. What I didn't expect was for him to come back again that night. I was just about to leave work when I saw him. I sighed, put down my bag, and sat on the couch. What now? He looked a little sneaky, only approaching after locking the door behind him. Should we continue? I frowned. Huh? His lips pressed tight as he spoke, clearly nervous. Just like last night. Get out, I muttered, rubbing my temples. I was so done. Did you even go to work today? His eyes widened in shock. How'd you know? It's obvious you've got too much time on your hands. I picked up my bag and left. I didn't go to work, but I wasn't slacking off either. I've been studying. Let me guess. More useless nonsense. So? I asked, arms crossed. You want me to test your progress? He scratched his head, clearly uncomfortable. You want a baby, right? I just found out today, it's actually rare to get pregnant from a single encounter. His face turned bright red by the time he finished. I glared at him. As if you only did it once last night. At this rate, I might already be pregnant. After all, he did say his genes were amazing. He blinked. I'm really that good? I was already walking toward the parking lot. He trailed behind, mumbling to himself, alternating between frowns and grins. Get in the car, I told him. He got in without protest. Halfway through the ride, he suddenly blinked. Wait, where are we going? Home, I said. His eyes lit up. 30 minutes later, that light was gone. This isn't my house. Nope. What, did you think I'd bring you home with me? Can't I? No. Get out. He hesitated, fumbling with the seatbelt for ages. Really can't? Get out. Okay. He reluctantly stepped out. After a few seconds of thought, I waved him over. He ran to the window, eyes sparkling. You changed your mind? You're taking me home? I'm busy. Don't come to the office for a while. With that, I pushed his head away and rolled up the window. Surprisingly, he was obedient. Didn't show up at the office for a whole week. But his brother Henry did. He brought a check. I glanced at it, it was exactly the amount I needed. So, he'd done his research again. President Ford, what's the meaning of this? You need the money. And I need you to reject Charlie. Don't see him. Don't give him any hope. I smiled and accepted the check. He froze. What's wrong, President Ford? Regretting it? He frowned, clearly agitated. Aren't you going to ask me why? I looked at him calmly. Nothing worth asking. It's not like you'd hurt him. Before I came here, I was hesitant. But now I see, you care about him even less than I imagined. Before I could respond, he added, do you know what Charlie's been up to these days? No. He bought a stack of parenting books. Signed up for childcare classes. He's learning how to be a good dad. So are you really pregnant? No. He didn't seem to believe me. He glanced at my stomach several times. But my expression was too calm, so he hesitated. If you really are, money's not an issue. Just say the word. I thought for a moment. Maybe I am. He let out a bitter laugh. Jenna Brown, you really are heartless. He didn't finish the sentence, but I could already guess the rest. He was probably going to say I was greedy, materialistic, only driven by money. Then he left. Before walking out, he reminded me to fulfill my promise. I immediately picked up my phone, ignored the flood of messages from Charlie, and replied to Henry instead, don't come looking for me again. I really do hate you. Knowing Charlie, once I said something like that, he definitely wouldn't come back. Just like back in senior year of high school. He somehow found out I was dating someone and beat the poor guy up without even asking for an explanation. By the time I arrived, my boyfriend's face was already bruised and swollen, and Charlie showed no signs of stopping. I scolded him harshly and said it right to his face, Charlie, I really hate you. He didn't say a word. Just gave the guy one last brutal kick and stormed off. After that, he never came looking for me again. Even when we passed each other at school, we acted like strangers. Until the summer after college entrance exams, when my mother passed away due to illness. That day, it rained heavily. My mother hated rainy days. I stood in front of her tombstone, holding an umbrella for her. Charlie came. He didn't say anything. Just silently stood beside me and held the umbrella. However long I stood there, he stood just as long. After that day, it felt like our relationship returned to the way it used to be. Confrontational, but not completely estranged. But this time, things didn't go the way I wanted. When I got off work and returned home, I saw him crouching by the gate of my villa. He didn't seem affected at all. In fact, he ran toward me with great enthusiasm. Before I could say a word, he grinned and declared, I brought you a late-night snack. That's when I noticed the insulated food box in his hand. Didn't you see the message I sent you? I asked. You sent me something? He looked startled, dug through his pockets, then instantly deflated. I left my phone at home. He grabbed my hand. Forget the phone. I made your favorite, sweet and sour ribs. Come on, try it. I stood still, staring at him. His acting was awful. I could see right through him. Don't come looking for me. I really do hate you. That was the message I had sent. His smile faded. His lips pressed into a tight line. When he looked at me again, the corners of his eyes were already tinged red. I haven't gone to the office these past few days, he said softly. So, why? I looked away. The harsh words came one after another. Charlie Ford, don't like me. There's no future between us. If you hadn't thrown yourself at me that night. I couldn't finish the sentence. Because he started crying. Big fat tears, like pearls falling off a broken string. So pitiful, it hurt to look at. I sighed silently and changed my tone. I've already found someone better. You're of no value to me anymore. He choked. They can't possibly be richer than me. I cut him off. They don't need to be. I have enough money. I turned around and walked straight into the villa. Fast. So fast I didn't even hear what he whispered behind me. You used to like it when I cried. Does it not work anymore? Even long after I returned inside, Charlie didn't leave. In the middle of the night, it started to rain. He remained in the same spot, staring up at my window with quiet hope in his eyes. I watched him through the security camera and called Henry. He arrived quickly and forcefully dragged Charlie away. But not before giving him a slap. Henry was furious, no longer the composed gentleman he usually pretended to be. When are you going to realize, he snapped, to her, you're just a pet dog. Something to tease when she's in a good mood, and throw away when she's not. Charlie didn't respond. He just squatted down on the wet ground, looking like a soaked puppy. Even pet dogs have someone who wants them, he mumbled. She doesn't want me. Henry gritted his teeth. Come home with me. I'll teach you how to make her happy again. Charlie's eyes were red, his face indistinguishable between tears and rain. I don't believe you anymore, he snapped. You said she liked mature, reliable men. I played President Ford Jr. for so long, and she never even looked at me properly. I was speechless. So that's why he'd changed so much after graduation. No wonder, at all those business dinners, he acted so much like another version of Henry. It was all, for me? I blinked and came back to my senses. Only to realize Charlie had already left. Rewatching the footage, I saw Henry leaning in and whispering something. Charlie said nothing and simply followed him away. Good. Let him go. The next day, I went to the office as usual. Then my father called. He didn't say much, just told me to come to the hospital. When I arrived, I saw him speaking with someone at the doorway to his hospital room. The man was dressed in a crisp suit, back turned to me. I couldn't see his face. But my father was smiling so warmly, he didn't even notice me walking up. I knocked on the door and stepped in. The man turned around, revealing a face that felt vaguely familiar. Jenna's here, my father said, waving at me. It's been, 7 or 8 years since you last saw Noah? 8, I replied. I looked at him again. The once boyish teen from my memory had grown into a calm, mature man. Noah, my ex-boyfriend. And the younger brother of that woman. Jenna, long time no see. He handed a peeled apple to my father, then extended his hand to me with a polite smile. Long time no see, I replied with a smile. Dad, you didn't say what this was about. I thought it was an emergency, so I rushed here from work. Now that I see you're fine, I can relax. I'll let you two talk. I have a meeting at 10, so I'll head back. Just as I was about to turn to leave, my father asked Noah to step out of the room for a bit. The moment he was gone, my father's smile faded. Jenna, it's time you started thinking about your marriage. I kept smiling. Dad, you know me. Right now, I'm all about my career. Marriage is just as important as a career. Then his tone suddenly shifted. Don't tell me, you're still thinking about that Ford family boy. I told you long ago, the Ford family is too ambitious. If you marry into them, it won't be long before the entire Brown Group ends up under their name. But Noah, he's different. He doesn't come from a powerful family, but he's capable. I spoke to him, he's willing to marry into our family. And you two dated back in high school. You understand each other, you loved each other. If not for that incident, you'd probably already have a kid by now. Loved each other? Incident? I sneered. I never loved him. And that incident was no accident. Back in senior year, I discovered my father had cheated. The woman he was seeing had a 5-year-old daughter, and was 4 months pregnant with a boy. He'd hidden her well. But I still found out. Her parents had died, leaving only one relative, her younger brother. Noah. So I deliberately approached him. Dated him. Through him, I got to meet her. The miscarriage she suffered? Not an accident. I orchestrated the whole thing. Because my mother had lost her baby thanks to that woman. She had to pay. That day, we were all playing roles. I was the flustered, regretful girl caught in early romance. He was the generous father paying for the consequences. My mother was the innocent, clueless wife. After that day, I broke up with Noah. He didn't even take the college entrance exam. Left the country with that woman. And stayed away for 8 years. Now they're back, just in time to fight for the inheritance. It was clear now, my father's approval had nothing to do with me and everything to do with that 3-year-old illegitimate son. If it weren't for public scrutiny over the years, he would have acknowledged them long ago. I lowered my gaze, hiding the sharpness in my eyes, and exhaled quietly. Dad, it's been 8 years. Me and Noah. Jenna, he interrupted, you know my health. I can't wait much longer. Once you get married, all the shares I hold will be part of your dowry. I looked at him. Does it have to be Noah? Noah is the most suitable for you. All right. I trust you, Dad. I said all the right things. Acted obedient. He was so pleased, he even smiled and said that on the day of our engagement, he'd hand over half of his shares as a gift. Later, he called Noah back and told him to report to the company with me. As soon as we left the hospital room, the smile on my face vanished. I walked straight into the elevator. It was just me and Noah. I'm not here to compete with you, he said. As if you even could. I smiled. Sorry, what was that? You don't have to fake the smile. My expression dropped instantly. But he smiled. What a freak. More people entered the elevator. We didn't say another word. The moment the doors opened, I walked out fast. But a few steps later, he caught up with me, still smiling. You're still the same. So annoying. I stopped and turned back to look at him. You've changed. You're even more annoying now. And even thicker-skinned. He actually smiled wider and, without warning, hugged me. I pushed him away and instinctively raised my hand to slap him. But he caught my wrist. Then glanced over my shoulder. Charlie. Long time no see. I froze. His hand still held mine. I turned, and saw Charlie standing there, fists clenched, staring at me like his heart had been torn apart. His hair was messy, his clothes wrinkled, like he'd just been in a fight. I blinked. Is he the better option you mentioned? He asked. Yes. He didn't say anything more. Didn't cry. But the look in his eyes, it made my chest ache. Maybe this wasn't such a bad thing after all. He was bound to hear about my engagement to Noah sooner or later. But for some reason, I didn't dare look at him again. Then Noah, ever the bastard, spoke up. Old classmates, right? Charlie, you've got to come to the engagement party. I wanted to strangle him. I dragged him out of the hospital, only to run into Henry in the parking lot. He had a bruise on his face, clearly fresh from a fight. When he saw me, he froze, mumbled something like, "We're screwed," and ran off. And in the silence of the parking lot, the slap I didn't get to give earlier landed cleanly across Noah's face. I shook my hand out and sneered, "If you don't want your hands broken, keep them to yourself." But he was still smiling. "I do want them. I still need them, to wear the ring. Our wedding ring." I scoffed. "Yeah, sure." I didn't bother replying anymore. I just got in the car and drove off. What I didn't expect was just how thoroughly my father had planned things for Noah. Using the title of my fiancé, he parachuted into the company as a vice president. Even set the date for our engagement party, just a month away. Meaning, he called me to the hospital not to ask, but to inform. Even if I objected, nothing would change. What a wonderful father. 2 weeks later, I went to a dinner party, with Noah accompanying me. 8 years was enough to completely change someone. The shy teen who once dreamed of becoming a doctor now talked business like a seasoned executive. Clearly, he and that woman had put in a lot of effort. But what I didn't expect, was that Charlie would also be at the dinner. He was representing the Ford family. Everyone came to toast him. But that idiot, he could have politely declined a few drinks, and no one would have said anything. Instead, he drank every single one. "President Brown, let me toast you." I was just about to say I wasn't drinking tonight, when Noah stepped in and drank it for me. "You must be Noah," the other guest said cheerfully. "Congratulations, President Brown. I hear the big day is coming." I changed the subject quickly. Afterward, I dragged Noah out of the private room, lowered my voice, and warned him, "If you can't keep your mouth shut, get lost." He finally stopped smiling. His eyes darkened as he stared at me. "You looked at him 7 times tonight. I thought he was the only one you ever saw." "Get lost, you lunatic," I muttered. I stomped on his foot and headed to the restroom to wash my hands. What a jinx of a night. But for some reason, Charlie popped into my mind again. Something felt off about him tonight. I should probably message Henry. "Are you really going to marry him?" The sudden male voice made me jump. I looked up, and saw Charlie standing by the sink. He was a lightweight, and alcohol hit him fast. His face was flushed bright red. "You're drunk," I said. He stared straight at me, not even blinking. "If I drank myself to death, would you be sad?" His voice was flat. Just like his expression. Charlie, I said, suddenly irritated, shut up. He turned to leave, but only made it a few steps before stumbling. I caught him before he hit the floor. I don't need your help. Go away, he mumbled. Then let go first, I said, staring down at his hand gripping my shirt. You're wrinkling it. But instead of letting go, he pulled me into his arms. Why him? Why can't it be me? Jenna, you have no heart. He started crying, and I had no words to deny it. Because he was right. I didn't have a heart. Charlie, call your brother. Tell him to come get you. He didn't respond. Just hugged me tighter. Charlie. I don't want him. I had no choice but to drag him into a hallway corner, dig through his pocket, and pull out his phone. Just as I was about to ask for the passcode, he looked up at me. I have a lot of money. That's real. Huh? Henry's stingy. He only gave you a little. You need money? I'll give you more. Way more than him. Don't listen to him, okay? Don't ignore me. Don't marry Noah. His voice cracked more and more as he spoke, getting quieter and softer. I must have lost my mind. Because in that moment, I kissed him. He was just too noisy. And it worked. The moment our lips parted, he fell quiet. Just stood there, stunned, staring at me. Call your brother, I said, handing back the phone. He glanced at the phone, then at me. Looked like he wanted to say something. So I leaned up and kissed him again. Call him. He said nothing, but obediently dialed. The call was picked up instantly. Charlie's drunk. Come get him, I said. Before I could say another word, Charlie hung up the call. I looked up, only to be silenced by another kiss. A long one. After what felt like forever, I heard footsteps approaching. Just as I started to lift my head, Charlie pulled me into his arms again. All I could hear was the pounding of his heart in my ear. Jenna, he whispered, I give up. Just, don't ignore me. That's all I ask. Then he walked away, leaving me stunned in place. Until Noah showed up. Are you all right? He asked. I looked at him. His clothes were wrinkled, sleeves rolled up, bruises on his face. Clearly just got into a fight. You were just with Charlie, weren't you? Of course. Who else would be that childish and try to stop me from reaching you? Before I could process it, he grabbed my chin. You kissed him. I slapped his hand away. Mind your own damn business. But he acted like he didn't hear me at all, just grabbed my shoulders and leaned in. Insane. I kicked him. Are you clear-headed now? His eyes were dark. When he kisses you, do you react the same way? I turned and walked away. He blocked my path. With a stubborn tone, he asked, if I weren't her brother, would you have liked me? No. If he wasn't that woman's brother, he and I would have remained parallel lines, never crossing. He laughed. Then I should thank her. If not for her, how else could I have become your fiancé? That's something 18-year-old me wouldn't have even dared to dream of. At 18, I had deliberately approached him. Dated him. I didn't respond and walked away. Naturally, I didn't hear him quietly mutter behind me, 17-year-old me wouldn't have dared either. Noah was acting strange. He behaved like nothing had happened that night. Didn't tattle to my father. Still carried himself like the proud fiancé. Even started helping plan the engagement party. Charlie was strange, too. After that night, he bombarded me with messages like usual. Whether I replied or not, he treated our chat like a personal diary. He even snuck over to my villa a few times. Why, snuck? Because he came fully disguised, hat, mask, sunglasses, nothing missing. When I invited him in, the first thing he asked was, is anyone else home? Under pressure, he finally admitted the truth. He said he was now my kept canary. I was speechless. As for Henry's check, I never used it. Because I found out I was pregnant. Yes, just 3 days before the engagement party. And the day before the event, I received the massive inheritance my mother had left me. Not just money, also shares I had planned to purchase at a high price. No wonder, when I previously contacted Mr. Lee, one of the shareholders, he kept saying, just wait a little longer. I thought he was unsatisfied with the price I offered. But it turned out, he'd been waiting for this. I was wrapped in Charlie's arms when he gently wiped away my tears. Tomorrow is your engagement party with Noah, he said softly. If anyone should be crying, it's me. He didn't know why I was crying. I hadn't told him anything. Not about the inheritance. Not about the pregnancy. Because if he found out, tomorrow's engagement would be impossible. But I needed those shares. I cupped his face and kissed the corners of his reddened eyes. I know you'll cry, so I cried for you. You're not allowed to cry anymore. But he still cried. Moved to tears. I didn't know whether to laugh or sigh. He actually believed it. How could someone be this pure? I held him, not saying a word for a long time. That night, he didn't stay over. He left in the middle of the night. Said he wouldn't be able to control himself if he stayed. But on the day of the engagement, he showed up. Even wore a suit that matched the color of my gown. He was so handsome. That champagne gold, sequined suit made him look like royalty. Radiant and dazzling. People couldn't help but look at him. Yet his face was cold, so cold that no one dared approach. He actually came, Noah whispered in my ear. I turned my head slightly, keeping a bit of distance between us. But Noah immediately tightened his grip around my arm. I looked ahead at my father walking toward us. I didn't pull away. My father praised us nonstop. I smiled and responded. But the next second, my smile faded. That woman had arrived, with both of her children. Jenna, long time no see, she said with a fake smile. She tugged the little boy beside her. Jason, come say hi to your sister. The air froze for a moment. I looked at the boy. His features bore a striking resemblance to my father. Give it a few more years, and the resemblance would be unmistakable. The boy ducked behind her, only to be scooped up by Noah a second later. Come here. Uncle will carry you. He smiled at the boy, then looked at me. This is your auntie. If you call her the wrong thing again, Uncle will spank you. Startled, the little boy pouted and mumbled, Hi, Auntie. Jenna, you've been running around too much lately, Noah said to me cheerfully. You're exhausted and confused. Take to the lounge and rest a bit. One hand holding the child, the other pulling the woman, he walked away. I looked toward my father. He was also watching me. I smiled. Let's not put on a show and let others laugh at us. He said, these are small matters. Today, you and Noah are the real stars. I nodded, helped him to his seat, exchanged a few words with the guests, and then left for the lounge. Unfortunately, the lounge had decent soundproofing. I could tell they were arguing, but not what they were saying. So I got up and went into the room next door. But the moment I walked in, I was pushed against the door. And staring into a face I knew far too well. Charlie. I pinched his waist. You scared me. What are you doing here? I asked. He didn't answer. Instead, he started kissing me, again and again. It was getting out of hand. I caught his wandering hand. Are you crazy? Not here. He buried his head in the crook of my neck, voice full of grievance. I feel awful. When you stood next to him, everyone kept saying how perfect you looked together. But you and we're the ones who are perfect. I cupped his face and gave him a quick kiss. They're blind. He looked away, awkward and flushed. What's wrong? I asked. His earlobes were bright red. You look so beautiful today, he murmured. I tilted his chin and grinned. Not as beautiful as you. He frowned. I'm handsome, not beautiful. Handsome, I said with a smirk. It's beautiful. Admit it. He got excited and pulled me to take selfies. I let him. I didn't expect him to sneak kisses in between shots. And right on cue, there was a knock at the door. The lounge had nowhere to hide except a sofa. I looked at Charlie. He silently walked behind the dark curtains. What? Where did he even learn that? I tidied myself before opening the door. It was Noah. For some reason, the way he looked at me made me feel a little guilty. God. Charlie was definitely rubbing off on me. I cleared my throat and asked calmly, what is it? Dad said you came back to the lounge. Told me to check on you. I leaned against the doorframe. You call him Dad, does your family know? Jenna, we're already engaged. We're going to get married, he said with a frown. I snorted, didn't argue further, and said, I'm a bit tired. I'll come out in 10 minutes. I shut the door. Charlie immediately hugged me from behind. Even though I'm okay with being your canary for life, do you really have to marry him? He's not richer than me, not better looking, not taller, not smarter, not. I turned and covered his mouth. I'm not marrying him. His eyes lit up. And once again, my palm felt a warm tear. I was speechless. That's enough. Stop. I pulled my hand away. He hugged me tightly for a while before finally letting go. That very night, the signed equity transfer agreement landed on my desk. No more pretending. After that, my ambition became clear. 3 months later, my father called me to the hospital again. This time, it was just the two of us. When did you find out? He asked. I calmly peeled an apple and replied, when I was 3. He looked unsurprised. As I expected. Who do you take after? So young, yet so ruthless. I took a bite of the apple and smiled. Even though I hate to admit it, I take after you. You're even crueler than me, he said. A poor boy punching his way into high society. You acted for 8 years. I acted for 20. It's just facts, I said. Not sure which line hit him, but the next moment, his heart condition flared up. He started cursing me as an unfilial daughter. As the doctors and nurses rushed in, I turned to Charlie and asked, if I'm so evil, why do you still love me? He glanced toward the hospital bed and wrapped a down jacket around my shoulders. "You're kind," he said. "If you hadn't called for help, he would have died." "But you didn't answer my question," I pressed. "Why do you love me?" He thought for a while. "Maybe it was when you brought me home for dinner when I was 10. We were barely neighbors. At 10, he lost both parents in an accident. I'd secretly followed my mom to his house. His home was huge. My mother walked too fast, I lost her, wandered around, and found him crying beneath a trellis in the garden. Beautiful people are born beautiful. And I've always had patience and softness for beautiful things. He helped me find the villa gate. I brought him home for dinner." "That's it?" I asked. "That was just the beginning," he said. "If you really want to know, I'll tell you everything slowly, one day at a time." "All right." Charlie went to get the car from the parking lot. I didn't want to walk, so I waited near the front door. But accidents always come in an instant. That car sped toward me without hesitation. I didn't even have time to react. Just when I thought death was certain, another car crashed into it from the side. I collapsed on the spot, legs too weak to stand. The driver of the wrecked car struggled to climb out. I recognized her. That woman. Blood covered her face as she stumbled toward me. The next second, someone covered my eyes. I heard Charlie's trembling voice next to my ear. It's okay. Don't be afraid." Pain radiated from my abdomen. I blacked out. When I opened my eyes again, Charlie's eyes were red and swollen from crying. I couldn't comfort him. My first instinct was to touch my stomach. The baby was still there. I let out a breath of relief. Thank goodness Charlie had insisted I wear layer after layer before going out, saying it was too cold. "Charlie. Don't talk. Doctor. Doctor," he called out, choking on his words. The doctor came, ran some checks, and confirmed everything was fine, I just needed rest. I asked Charlie what had happened. At first, he spoke with anger. But by the end, his voice turned oddly awkward. "It was that woman who tried to run me over. And it was her brother, Noah, who saved me. 1 month after our engagement party, I'd already replaced Noah as vice president with someone else. When he left, he only asked me one thing: if Charlie didn't exist, would you have liked me?" I said, "No." Because it was never about Charlie. After that, I never saw him again. I didn't expect we'd meet again like this. "How's Noah?" I asked. "He's alive." Charlie looked away. His injuries were serious. But he pulled through. They say he'll move to a regular room in a few days. When I tried to get up, he panicked. "You're still not well. The doctor said you need rest. And besides, you can't see him yet. Only family is allowed in the ICU. He's really okay. I swear." 3 days later, Noah woke up. But he'd lost his memory. He remembered nothing, except that he had a fiancée named Jenna. Charlie was convinced he was faking it. I reassured him briefly, then went to Noah's room. "You're my fiancée?" he asked from the bed, smiling weakly. I nodded. I was. But it only lasted a month. That ended 3 months ago. He looked a little disappointed. Then, "Are we still friends?" "We're lifesavers now," I replied. He didn't ask anything else. But as I walked out, he called softly after me. "Jenna." I turned, smiled at him, then left. 3 months later, he took those 2 children and returned to the U.S. That woman would have to finish her sentence before being allowed to leave. I went to see her once. She looked at my stomach, eyes full of rage. "You're still alive, and my child is gone. He was only this big. If not for you," she continued, "I could have used that baby to arrange a marriage with that wretched woman's son. You never thought about karma, did you? My mother lost a fully developed baby boy because of her. She almost lost her life because of it. Her health declined steadily afterward, and the heartbreak caused by those 2 illegitimate children eventually killed her early. How could I not hate? When Noah left, I didn't go see him off. Charlie did. When he came back, he seemed out of sorts. Wouldn't say a word. After 2 drinks, he spilled everything. He thought Noah was faking his amnesia. So he'd gone to brag that I was already pregnant with his child, and told him to give up his delusions. Noah had just replied, "You're not even married." That one sentence shattered him. I couldn't help laughing. "So what? We'll get married tomorrow." "Really?" He blinked. "Would I lie to you?" He leaned against me and whispered, "I love you so much, wifey."